Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us for Delta Team Care's Emotional Eating Do You Know Why You Eat webinar. So let's start at the beginning. What purpose does food serve? Why do we need it? Do we need it? Well, yes, we do need food. It provides our body with energy in the form of calories so that it can then carry out all of its daily functions. Food also provides our body with the nutrients that it needs, and it plays a very important and necessary role for proper functioning of our bodies and for our life. Too little food, too much food, and eating the wrong kinds of food can have a detrimental effect on our body. This webinar will focus on eating too much as a response to feelings instead of hunger. This is something that many people struggle with every day, and sometimes they don't even realize that they're doing it. We may think that only sadness or stress would lead to emotional eating, but even positive and happy feelings can also lead to overeating. How do we know if we're eating because of emotional or physical hunger? Here are some differences. Emotional hunger will come on suddenly, where physical hunger will occur gradually. When we're eating to fill a void that isn't related to an empty stomach, we tend to crave a specific food, like pizza or ice cream, and only that specific food will meet our need. When we eat because we're actually hungry, we're a lot more open to options. Emotional hunger usually feels like it needs to be satisfied instantly with the food that we crave, where physical hunger can generally wait. Even when we're full, if we're eating to satisfy an emotional need, we're more likely to keep eating. When we're eating because we're hungry, we're a lot more likely to stop when we're full. And emotional eating can leave behind feelings of guilt because of how much food was eaten or the foods that were eaten. Now, eating when we're physically hungry does not. We find that the situations and the emotions that trigger us to eat fall into 5 main categories: social, emotional, situational, our thoughts, and physiological. We'll briefly go through each, and this may help us as we analyze our own eating habits to determine which one or which ones of these trigger our emotional overeating. Sometimes our social environment prompts us to eat. For example, if we're out with other people, and that's just what we do when we're out with our friends, we eat. Sometimes eating because we're trying to fit in, or because we were arguing with someone, or because of feelings of inadequacy around other people. Emotional triggers to overeating can be boredom, stress, fatigue, tension, depression, anger, anxiety, or loneliness as a way to fill a void. Some situational triggers to overeating can include eating just because we can, because the opportunity is there. For example, at a restaurant, especially a place like a buffet, or if we see an advertisement for a particular food, or if we pass by a bakery. Eating might also be associated with certain activities like watching TV, going to the movies, at a party, or a sporting event. Sometimes it can be that it is just so easy for us to eat. Usually at family, work, or friend gatherings, there's an abundance of food and drink that's available. Eating just because the food is sitting there can happen very easily and many times without us even realizing it. Our thoughts can also sabotage our eating. Feeling bad about ourselves, negative self-talk, not being happy about our looks or abilities can also lead to emotional eating and overeating. Another trigger that can cause us to overeat could be physiological. Overeating because we skip meals and are then overly hungry, or eating to cure a pain or discomfort, for example. It's really important to identify what triggers our emotional eating. It can then help us substitute a more appropriate technique to manage our feelings and then take food and weight gain out of the picture. So should we worry? We all tend to eat for emotional reasons sometimes. The problem arises when we're using this as our only or our main strategy to manage our feelings. Eating when we're not hungry can lead to eating unhealthy foods and extra calories that we probably don't need. And eating extra calories too often leads to weight gain. And being overweight leads to increased risk for the development of health conditions like heart disease, type 2 diabetes, cancers, high blood pressure, stroke, sleep apnea, and other sleeping problems, and the list continues. So as we can clearly see, we should be worried if we find that we're eating for emotional reasons, and that's the number one way that we manage our feelings. So what can we do? To help identify what triggers excessive eating, keeping a food diary that records what and when we eat, as well as what stressors, thoughts, or emotions we identify as we eat, can be very helpful. Usually when we keep a food diary, we begin to identify patterns to our excessive eating pretty quickly. If we use a food diary, we can rank our hunger on a scale of 1 to 10 every time we put anything in our mouth. Keeping a detailed journal like this will help us identify why we are eating and what our triggers are. After we have identified that we are eating for emotional reasons, it's important to remove the food and put something else in its place. There are various techniques that can be used to help with this. Having a list with very concrete activities that can be put in the place of food is helpful. Also, substituting the choices in foods with healthy options like fruits and vegetables can also be helpful. And anytime that we're learning something new and we want to be good at it, we need to practice. Practicing is monumentally important in this case. We want to be prepared when a craving or a stressful situation arises so that we're ready. Think of it as learning to swim. You do not want to try to learn how to swim in rough water, right? You also don't want to learn how to calm and soothe yourself without food on a day when everything is going wrong. So remember to practice your techniques. If these self-help techniques have not worked for you when you have tried them before, it may be time to consider professional help. Therapy can help us understand the motivations and any underlying problems behind our emotional eating and help us learn new coping skills. It may also be that a person's emotional eating is due to an eating disorder, and therapy is what is needed. It's important not to be afraid to seek help if we need it. Now, let's go through some alternatives that may help us take food out of the equation and replace it with a healthier habit. Writing out a list of activities that have nothing to do with food that we can do instead of eating is a great technique. Writing them out is an important part of this technique. It helps to think about the activities that we enjoy and want to try, and it also helps to see them on paper. I encourage everyone to create this list for themselves and to have it somewhere handy so that you can easily find it to help you practice activities. And I intentionally made deep breathing stand out because deep breathing is a great technique that can help us with overeating, and it is also a great stress reliever. Learning to breathe deeply takes practice, so do it every chance that you get and you'll reap the double benefit. Exercise also provides double the benefit, so that's another activity that I highly recommend. So create a list for yourself. As you can see, there's a lot of examples here, but pick things that you like and that you will do and practice them. If you find that you want to eat because of a craving, ask yourself if you are truly hungry. Did you just eat a few hours ago? Maybe you're not hungry. Try not to give in. Give it some time to pass. If you find that it is difficult to resist the temptations, don't keep comfort foods at home or in your car or in your office. And it's also helpful to try to avoid going to the grocery store to do your shopping when you're feeling your trigger emotions. If you are feeling the urge to eat between meals, you can choose a low-fat, low-calorie snack such as fresh fruit, vegetables with fat-free dip, or unbuttered popcorn. You can also try a small portion size of your favorite comfort food or a lower calorie version of your favorite comfort food to see if that satisfies you. And it's important to also work at not depriving yourself. When trying to lose weight, we find that we tend to restrict our calories too much, and we tend to eat the exact same meals all day, every day, and to completely banish those foods that we enjoy and that we consider bad foods. This, though, can backfire and increase our food cravings, especially in response to emotions. So let yourself enjoy an occasional treat and eat a variety of foods to help you curb cravings. Having the support of others can also help us increase our chances of being successful at eliminating emotional eating. Lean on family, friends when needed, and consider joining a support group. Sleeping enough is also important. If we're constantly tired, we may snack to give ourselves an energy boost. Finding ways to manage our stress can also help curb excessive snacking. Try exercises like deep breathing that we talked about, meditation or relaxation exercises. Find what helps you feel peaceful and relaxed. That could be talking to a friend, praying, going for a walk, taking a nap, watching a funny movie, whatever works best for you. Find it and do it often. If you do have an episode of emotional eating, do not beat yourself up about it. Forgive yourself and start fresh the next day. Try to learn from what happened so you can plan and prevent it from happening in the future. Planning is key here. We must think about what we can do differently to help us avoid giving in the next time that we face the same challenge or situation. It's also important and beneficial to focus on the positive changes that we have been making in our eating habits and to give ourselves credit for making changes to improve our health. Too many times we focus on the negative and continue down that path. Let's change the way we think and how we talk to ourselves. Never say something to yourself that you think would be unkind to say to someone you care about. An additional resource that can be helpful and that you have access to are Delta Team Care Health Coaches. We can help you take a look at your eating habits to determine what your triggers may be and help you brainstorm through alternatives to help you put food back where it belongs, as a source of energy for your body and not the solution to your problems. Call us or send us an email and enroll in our free health coaching programs, or get in touch to ask health-related questions. This is our contact information, our phone number, and our email. Thank you very much for taking the time to learn more about this interesting topic, and we hope you feel good about the steps that you're taking for your health. Have a great day.